Wonderful.
Y'all want to jump in?
No.
Y'all ain't jump in last week. Don't you do
it. So good.
Well, good.
All right, we live,
Yeah,
y'all.
live.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in, everyone. Good evening. We're so glad to have you all here with us on this evening. It is a beautiful, beautiful day. And it's a beautiful day because we just had that miracle of our last breath. This is week 4 of Returning Home, the Outliers Collective, our 12-week Bible study journey through Dr. Lisa Allen's transformative book, A Womanist Theology of Worship, Liturgy, Justice, and Communal Righteousness. My name is Dr. Ebony Only, and I'm honored to be your host this evening as we explore Chapter 2, African Roots of the Black Church. Before I introduce tonight's facilitators, let me just take a moment, especially for those who may be joining us for the very first time, to share who we are and why we have gathered for this important work. The Outliers Collective is a coalition of pastors committed to liberative, African-centered, progressive ministry that affirms the full personhood of Africans in America. We represent 4 congregations: Peace Baptist Church, New Hope Baptist Church, New Calvary Baptist Church, and First Baptist Church of University Park, the 4 united by a shared vision. Our work involves deconstructing toxic theology while affirming our cultural identity and our commitment to justice. We seek to align our worship and liturgical practices with authenticity, with African sensibilities, and with the liberating power of the gospel. But we don't like to call this work deconstruction. We call it instead returning home, because that's what this journey is: a return to ourselves, a return to our ancestors, a return to our heritage, and to a fuller understanding of the God who created us and walks with us still. We chose this book, Dr. Lisa Allen's book, A Womanist Theology of Worship, because it does what so few resources have done. It tells the truth about the history of worship in the Black church. It names the enduring effects of white supremacy on our liturgical practices, and it offers us a new way forward, a womanist paradigm that centers our African and African-descended worldviews, and it affirms our full embodiment of worship and calls us toward communal righteousness. Last week with Dr. Small and I, we explored chapter 1 and the importance of liturgy. We explored why liturgy matters, how it shapes us, and what's at stake when we worship. Tonight, we are going to be looking at chapter 2, African Roots of the Black Church, which invites us to explore the spiritual and liturgical traditions our ancestors brought with them from the African continent. These were not erased by the Middle Passage. They were not destroyed by enslavement. They survived. They adapted, and they infused themselves into the very fabric of how we have worshiped for centuries. Tonight, we ask, what did our ancestors believe about God? What did our ancestors believe about community? And what did our ancestors believe about the sacred? We ask tonight, how did those beliefs shape their worship? And how do those ancient roots still live in us today? This is holy ground that we will walk on tonight, family, and I am so glad that we have 2 exceptional guides to lead us through this sacred terrain. First, Pastor Michael Bell of Peace Baptist Church in Washington, D.C. Pastor Bell brings a deep commitment to African-centered ministry and a passion for helping congregations understand the rich heritage that informs our worship. His leadership at Peace Baptist Church reflects the very principles that we are exploring in this study on tonight. Then also joining us tonight is Reverend Dr. Reginald Wade Williams, Jr. Dr. Williams is a scholar, a pastor, and a prophetic voice who has long championed the integration of African spirituality and Christian faith. His insights will help us to see the connections between our ancestral practices and our contemporary worship. Together, these 2 will facilitate our conversation and help us dig into the roots that ground us. I am so glad that you're with us tonight. And before I turn it over to them, let us open in a word of prayer. God, you have been faithful. God, you have been magnificent. God, you have been all-knowing and all-seeing. And so on tonight, God, I would just ask that you remove anything that keeps us from hearing you and seeing you on tonight. God, there are some things that have kept us bound. And so tonight, God, I pray that someone is liberated by word, by deed, by thought, by action, that someone is liberated by sitting with us tonight in this chapter 2, African Roots of Liturgy. God, we believe you. We stand on your promises. And so we're going to listen with open ears and open hearts tonight. It's in Jesus' name that we do pray. Amen. Pastor Bell and Reverend Williams, the floor is yours.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Only. It is an absolute delight to be with every one of you. I see in the chat that there are some who are concerned with the volume, so hopefully you all can hear us now. Please put a thumbs up in the chat if you would, if the volume has been improved. But just glad to be with you tonight, and absolutely more than delighted to be sharing with my big brother, the Reverend Dr. Reginald Wade Williams Jr. How you doing, bro? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. More delighted to be with you, bro. I'm looking forward to our conversation tonight.
Indeed.
You know how we do. Let's chop it up. Let's get
All
to
right,
it.
man. Let's jump on into it. Family, all of y'all who are on the fireside chat with us tonight, we are going through this wonderful text, The Womanist Theology of Worship by Dr. Lisa Allen. And tonight we're going to walk through chapter 2, which is titled African Roots of the Black Church. And I'm excited really to begin at the beginning. This particular chapter and the discussion that I hope it generates for us tonight is, as you will see, critically important, particularly in a world that is hell-bent on erasure and the rewriting and whitewashing of history. I'm particularly excited to share with Dr. Williams in this sort of fireside chat. We've already kind of started, because what this chapter really helped me with is the need for us, all of us who have been brought to these shores from the 7 regions of Mother Africa. We who have, we have to talk, get an opportunity tonight to talk about the place, the point, and the importance of identity. That's really what I think this chapter does for us. Shore up the conversation and communication regarding identity with regard to our faith. Who we are is supremely important to the issue of how we worship, how we see the world, how we engage with history, how we engage our present circumstances, and how we envision a world that is in alignment with the God we have cast our cares upon and our gaze upon. So Dr. Allen, in this chapter, immediately begins at the beginning. And contrary to most popular recitations of history, it begins with a free people in the belly and bosom of Al-Kubalan, mother of mankind, the Garden of Eden. That's an indigenous term for what we now come to know, which has been cited by the Romans as Mother Africa. The Black Church of the Americas was born out of the invisible institution. And I hope we get an opportunity to kind of put some meat on that tonight, brother, because a lot of people have heard that term and may not necessarily know exactly what we mean when we say the invisible institution. And I love how Dr. Allen presents it in the beginning of the chapter. That is that the Black church was born out of the necessity for enslaved persons to experience authentic worship with God. That blows your cap back, man.
Right there.
Because what this infers is that there has always been a reason and a need for Black folks to operate with a hermeneutic of suspicion. Colonialism has always been an ideology that casts a shadow upon who we are, how we worship, who God is, and how God relates in truth to us. When we hear this, immediately our question should be, who sets the standard and the rubric for what authentic worship is? And how is it that a peoples from civilizations that have predated Christianity by some 8,000 to 10,000 years, people who knew God, worshiped God, walked with God, how is it that now somebody else gets to tell us who God is and how we must worship?
Yeah,
So let's get into it.
yeah, let's get it, man. I think your questions are extremely important. And if I could just go back for a second to the invisible institution piece. You said we were gonna get into it. Let's no time like the present, right?
Let's chop it up.
Invisible institution, for those who don't know, is as Dr. Allen has already shared, a characterization of the Black church. Why invisible? Why? Because back in places called hush harbors and brush harbors that will be away from the awful eye of the overseer, there were these things called slave code, black codes, where you couldn't be, you could only have you couldn't have more than 2 or 3 people together without having a white person there so that they could determine for them what it is that they could and could not say. And so when Black folks went into the hush harbors and brush harbors off in the woods, that would be a place where they could worship, as Mike said, authentically, right? A place where they would turn this big old pot upside down and turn it over so the sound wouldn't get out, have leaves and trees all around, and there is where they would engage in their authentic worship. That was brought and done from places West and Central Africa, now brought over here, and it was a syncretism of different tribes and ethnicities as they came together and did it, which goes back to something, even as we talk about the African cosmologies of Black church, the African cosmological basis of Black church, cultural unity of Africa, I believe. Sheikh Anta Diop talks about that, as well as Mbiti, who was referenced a lot by Dr. Allen. Mbiti talks about the cultural unities, particularly of God, as she talks about in this chapter. But to bring that out, and that's very important because we've seen even in our day how when we worship, some other people can't believe that that's what we're doing because it is by us for us.
Right.
And you have other folks and they're like, oh, that's a whole nother story for another day.
No, you own it.
So as we begin to talk about the African cosmological basis of the Black church, um, one thing Mike and I kind of gleaned from the chapter is that the central basis of this African cosmology is connection, right? In a number of different areas and in a number of different ways. I want to show a quick video that is going to help us see about this connection, and then we'll go further and dig into it a little bit. All right. Let me go ahead and share this. Some of you have seen this, but we are going to explore this right here.
David Phillips used to preach right here. Let the children come. Let your mothers hear you laugh. Let the grown
Let your bride and your children see you dead. Women, women. Just we. For the dead.
So that's one clip that talks about connection. What's the connection you see there? Connection between intergenerationally, right? We see kids, we see parents, we see family, the intergenerational connection. We also see the connection between all of these various aspects of life. Children, we want to hear you laugh. And while children are laughing, men dance. And while men are dancing, women weep, right? In the clearing. Yes, Robin Bell, in the clearing. And in all of these things are connected. So none of life for African people is separated.
Right.
It is all connected,
Right.
all in one, right? None of life is separated, right? We're gonna dig into what that means. I want to show one more clip about what connection means, because we're gonna dig deeper into some of the other areas of connection that are there. Let me see. This is one more area of connection. That ain't it. Hold on. Okay, here it is. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but here we come. All right, here it is. Listen to this part. This is part still Baby Suggs, different part of the movie.
Here in this place, we are flesh. Flesh that weeps, laughs, dances barefoot in the grass. Love your flesh. Love it hard. Yonder, they do not love our flesh. Oh, my people, they do not love your hand. Those here in this place.
That's about all I can take right there.
Ooh, boy, what I tell you, man.
Listen here. That's about what, because here's the other part of connection, and this is something that Dr. Only talked about in terms of returning to ourselves. So it's not only connection with family, connection with people, connection with all of these other aspects of connection that we're gonna talk about tonight, but it's reconnection with ourselves.
Right.
Right? Yonder down there, they don't care about connecting.
Yeah.
They care about dominating.
Right.
We have to learn to be reconnected with ourselves. And that's a part of the African cosmology that grounds Black church.
Right.
Unapologetically grounds Black church in terms of who it is that we are. You about to say something, Mike? I apologize.
No, man, I'm excited because I think that's really what the richness of this particular chapter, what it helps us to really engage, just as you're saying, is to revisit, to better understand this African worldview, of our own faith, our traditions, and our beings. But one of the things that I don't know is as well emphasized as it has been is that, to your point, when she starts saying over yonder, they don't care about our flesh, is that a part of this, a part of who we have been since we have come to the Americas, the Black church has also had to be courageous enough to be under surveillance and to be subversive.
At the same time.
Always with under someone else's gaze. So when we actually start talking, as Dr. Allen opens up the text with this idea that there is this rubric, this standard for what authentic worship is, that has been a question that we as Black folk have always had to endure, to interrogate, right? A part of who we are and a part of our worship. That's a part of the conversation right now, which is one of the reasons why I thought this particular chapter was so powerful and relevant for right now, is because the conversation in our current cultural context is, am I Christian first or am I Black first? And to your point, the worldview of African traditions and African faith is that they are not separate.
They are not.
There is no, I am a Christian before I'm Black.
That's right.
Or that because I'm Black, does that place in subservience my my practice, my faith? You know? So
how would that faith express this stuff?
Right. That it's all one and the same. So let's get into it. Let's dig, because I don't want time to run from us. Dr. Allen opens up in the text and she starts using language such as African cosmologies. Those are the roots of the present day Black church. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure, because I didn't want to get in trouble with my other big bruh, Dr. Small, is that we had some working definitions that everybody who's on this fireside chat can understand, and we'll be in the same place on the same page, right? So the biggest term I think that we engage in this particular chapter is this idea of cosmology, or indigenous cosmologies, African cosmologies. What does that mean? Cosmology, 10-cent word for really how we understand tradition, holistic worldviews, and a belief system held by indigenous people worldwide, defining how they understand the universe, the origin of things, the nature of reality, all of that. What makes it indigenous is that it's not just about a people who is connected to a particular land, but it is also the ways in which they come into these ways of knowing. The relationship that they have is in some ways countercultural to the way we do things in a Western construct,
which is separate.
Which is separate,
bifurcated,
right? And in categories, and the construct is that that of science, right? And that's why they call all of the other ways of knowing pseudosciences. But that's not how indigenous peoples engage. Their thinking is that it is the deep, reciprocal, spiritual connection that we have with the land, practicing and placing high value on our communal relationships between humans and non-human beings, the natural world order, and here it goes, our ancestors. Because even if physics be true, right? Energy doesn't go anywhere. Just because they was here and they not here now, that energy is still somewhere else. It's been transferred. So to define cosmology is the worldview. That's the easiest way I can tell it. The worldview. It's unlike Western ways of knowing, which are often linear, anthropocentric, views, indigenous cosmologies are dynamic. They are knowledge systems passed down through generations that often center on kinship and the environment. And Dr. Allen goes through a lot of this in the chapter. She breaks a lot of this stuff down, which I hope folks have find meaningful as they read through the chapter. Dr. Allen starts talking about the commonalities among different tribes and different nations, and how there were things which were, and I hate to use this term, I won't say universal, I'll say shared. I'll say shared. I'll say shared, because each tribe, each nation, they had their own identities and distinctions among them, but they found that there was a shared truth in certain things, right? There were certain meanings that we saw in the seasons. Me and you were talking earlier today, about winter and how it is absolutely unnatural for us to be doing half of the stuff we're doing when the earth itself is going to sleep.
Yep. And we're part of nature.
Right.
And we're going against nature by trying to be super active it's the beginning of the year. Yeah, it's the beginning of the year, but this is resting time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If something goes on when you're resting, such that when spring comes, we are connected. Once again, there's a word again. We're connect. If we're going to be connected with nature and not dominant over nature, we got to be in sync with seasons.
Exactly, man. You own it, bro.
Yeah,
that's it. And they would learn these mysteries through watching, observing, being in tune, being connected with the nature, the natural. Yeah.
So we on nature. Should we stay on nature?
Well, we might as well go on, man.
Because there's a part that Mike just said in terms about being in sync with nature. I want to show, and this is something that an African cosmological view kind of hits. So there's a picture that I want to show y'all that is amazingly kind of accurate in terms of how we are connected with nature. Look at this picture. Can y'all see that? Can everybody see that? Look at this picture. This is a picture on the left of your lungs. The picture on the right is a picture of trees. Do you see how much they look alike? And then watch this. We breathe in what trees breathe out. Right. And they breathe in what we breathe out. Right. And so this is how nature works, and this is what we are a part of. Right? We can never say I forgot the scientist who said we are literal things in our bodies in terms of the components and constructs of our body. We are literally made of the same stuff that's in the stars. Right. We are literal stardust. Same dust. Yeah. Same dust. Right? And so when we talk about how and our ancestors knew these things, right? That's why they could look at this star. Who is it? Founded DC. Banneker.
Benjamin Banneker, yes.
Could go and find these posts. He's a doggone chief. D-O-G-O-N, doggone chief, right? He goes and sits on these different posts and watches the stars to see where to plant the barriers and boundaries of Washington, D.C. because he's connected with nature. Right? I just want to share that since we was on it. That's
good. That's one of the posts.
Yeah.
Everybody, y'all taking notes. That's one of the key principles that she lifts up, that those Africans before enslavement and through the transatlantic slave trade, those who were brought to these Americas, there was this shared knowing, this connection, the way their worldview saw that there was an interconnectedness and interdependence. Reggie, just like you were talking about with the picture of the lung and the tree, and that we breathe in what the tree breathes out, that there is this interdependence, right? Of all things in God's creation. And so this forms then this belief system, this truism, this worldview that the God who created all of this must have created it and mapped it in such a way that I need you and you need me, right? That there is this inherent connection and interdependency one of another. And that's not just for humans. That's as you can see, here's a tree, here's a lawn, right? And being connected to nature in that way also inspires and it should enliven, it should awaken us, particularly those of us who are dealing now with issues of environmental justice.
Yes, sir.
That this is another issue that indeed we must be aware of. This is not just one of them commandments that God gave to Adam to be, have dominion over everything. But no, it is indeed a responsibility that we have because we are dependent upon.
That's right.
Right. So one of the principles that was brought to this and that is foundational to the Black church is indeed this connection with nature. Then one of the other principles that Dr. Allen lists in her book is this other first principle that there is a belief in a supreme God. The God may be known by many names, a God who is both immanent and transcendent.
Yeah.
A God that is inside and outside, beyond our knowing, but also within reach. And she cites, she does a lot of citations and dependency on the scholarship of Dr. John M. Beatty quite often. And she asserts that Africans also believe that God is manifested in natural objects and phenomena that is available to them in worship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is critically important because Dr. Allen brings out a very important piece in her definition of religion. Right? She says religion is not relegated to one aspect of life or church attendance. It's a way of describing the belief systems which permeate their entire lives. There is no running away from God. There is no, what's the old hymn? God is so high.
Can't get over.
So low, can't get under.
Under.
So wide, can't get around. Ain't no place to hide because God is in the midst.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, man. And this part of her talking through the supremacy of God, particularly when she does this breakdown of God and Jesus and Spirit, and we won't get into all of that. It's the back end of the chapter where she gives more specificity. I hope that those who are listening have an opportunity to read through the chapter. But one of the things which made the transition to these Americas so rich is that because they believed in a supreme God beforehand, it was no major transition once they got here and were spoon-fed somebody else's interpretation. Because there were things that they could identify even when they operated with a hermeneutic of suspicion, even when no, that all of that don't sound right. Now I do believe God, right? And this phenomena such as God, who is the high God,
right,
the supreme God, and then now you got this Jesus character who's showing up, and then y'all start talking about this spirit like they're little gods or something. All of that was easy to translate. This phenomena that scholar Ibulaji Idawu talks, he calls it diffused monotheism. That is, that I am able to recognize the divinity in all things, but I know there is one true God. one high God, one supreme God. And it blows me because we've been listening to all of these other folks tell us about African spiritualities and religions, and they got us thinking that you look at certain tribes and they are worshiping the cow like the cow is God.
Right.
No, that's not what they're doing at all. They are able to recognize the divinity in the cow.
Yeah.
And they are grateful to the creator and supreme God because their entire economy is dependent
On this cow.
on this cow. We are herders. This is what we do. But thanks be unto God. You know, so those are one of the aspects in the supreme God. You brought in this connection to nature, but there's also something that you were talking about, which is related to this worldview of communal solidarity or kinship.
Yeah, which is huge. And before I dig in there, Mike, let me just highlight something that you said that was very important about Dr. Allen bringing in what religion is. I think I've shared with some of you all before. I know I've shared with our congregation about this kind of confused idea about what religion is. We tend to think of religion as these denominations, as you go to church, you go to coach, you're a Kojic, you're a Baptist, you're a Catholic, da 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 da. Pastor Wright reminded us that the definition of religion comes from its root word religio, which means what? That to which you are bound.
Yeah.
So we're going back to connection, right? We are bound to nature. We are connected with nature, trees, lungs. We are connected with the high God. We are connected now as we move into this next piece with each other, humans. This is what she talks about in terms of kinship, right? That word Ubuntu is not just a word. It is a lifestyle and part of a cosmology that we are connected with one another. Watch this. Watch this. Watch that true. So if anybody in church goes to church, and when you get to church, you call somebody sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so, or you grow up in the community and you got some what you call play cousins who when you was growing up, you thought they was your real cousins, and you ain't know till you got about 12, 13 that y'all ain't have no blood between y'all, right? Anybody ever had that happen?
Yeah,
right?
man.
That's this kinship, right? That we are when we come to church, families of faith. We are kinfolk, right? So we're connected one with another. And Mike brought it out earlier, energy doesn't die. We're connected ancestrally.
Yeah.
In your bones right now is 200,000 years of wisdom.
Yeah.
In your bones right now, you are connected with those who have come before you, whose names you will never know. That's part of that's part of religion. That's part of being connected. That's part of this African cosmology that grounds what Black church is, right? Some folk who have adopted or been infected, that's what it is, infected with a white Western evangelical people say, well, you ain't supposed to honor your ancestors. Y'all do it all the doggone time. How many people got stuffed of their parents a Bible, a book, a piece of clothing, right? That is a basic kind of portal of power.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's a portal of power that reminds you that if they went through it and God brought them through it, God can bring us through it, right?
Hold on, Reggie. Wait a minute. I want to take you off, but while you are making that point,
I'm coming. I see it. I'm getting there. I see it because it's demonic when we do it.
Right.
But in the Catholic Church, Hail Mary, full of grace.
Come on here.
In the Catholic Church, you got these saints. In the Catholic Church, you got all this. What's wrong? What's all of this? Even let's go there. Even in DC, where you at, Mike, where they have symbols like an obelisk.
Come on. Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
All of these types of things. And so you're sitting here saying, thank you, Mark. You sitting here saying it's demonic to worship your ancestors. But when you pray to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Ruth, Naomi, and Sarah, you're calling ancestors.
And hold on, Reg, because there's here. Let me tell you about church folk. They still, even though you telling them some good stuff, still gonna be like, no, that ain't what we do. But these are the same folks who will show up on first Sunday
And
at
take
church
what?
and take communion.
This do.
And the book says, this do.
And what?
In remembrance of me.
Yes, sir.
That's the book. That's
Which
the book.
goes to a whole nother thing around ritual.
Come on now.
We ain't got time to get through that. This
Lord,
is a ritual that they are bringing from ancestors.
Lord,
so what?
Let me bring.
Man, listen.
So I'm getting excited, boy.
Get a little hype, right? So it's connection, right? It's this connection to God. It's this connection to each other. It's this connection to nature. It's this connection to ancestors. And here's what that connection. And I'm gonna say this, and we gonna move on. It's 7:10 already. Jesus Christ. Here's what this kind of cosmology kind of is exemplified in one scripture that we love to quote, but look right over.
Yeah, come on here.
Psalm 24:1 says what? The earth
Is
the Lord's
and
the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. That's King James version too. If you need,
I think that's the King James, Doc.
That's the King. That's Jimmy, right?
Lord, today.
And so what Allen reminds us of, what BT reminds us of, what folks like Gayrard Wilmore in his book Black Religion, Black Radicalism reminds us of, what people like L.H. Welchel, who wrote the book The History and Heritage of Black Churches, A Way Out of No Way, reminds us of, is that, and part of this, a very important part of this African cosmology is this: there is no separation between sacred and secular. It's all connected.
All connected.
It's all connected. Now we may say something about sacred profane. That's something totally different. But there, when you saying I can't listen to R&B because that's secular. Marvin Gaye, when he wrote What's Going On, told Smokey Robinson, God is writing this. Right. Y'all put me on a timeline and y'all ready for me to get this out so y'all can make some money. He said, no, Smoke, God is writing this.
Right.
And to this day, you're going to sing What's Going On.
Right.
I'll tell you like this. People at First Baptist Church know during a time of fellowship and passing of the peace, we ain't singing Near My God to Thee. We ain't singing none of that. No, we singing Happy Feelings by Frankie Beverly.
Come on now.
We singing happy because we spreading happy, right? There is no separation between sacred and secular. And that is something that African people carry with them. You carrying yourself and your religion when you go to the club, or when you go to your political office, or when you go to the classroom, or when you go into church, when you're going home. You are carrying all of that with you because all of that is inside of you. That's right. And the goal of white supremacy is to have you separate yourself.
Right. In all things.
In all things.
That's why we have this religion now, or this what is professed to be Christianity, that is more concerned with the individual,
yes,
rather than the community.
Communal. That's right. Absolutely right.
When the disciple came and asked Jesus and said, what is the greatest commandment under the heavens? He didn't say, get yourself right. He said, no, love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there, man. But you started some fire. And by the way, I didn't know it was y'all folk too, because I remember I played some Earth, Wind, and Fire in church, and somebody came down my church middle aisle and dropped it like it was hot. That's how I knew it wasn't no separation between the secular and the sacred.
You come to First Baptist Church on University Park, you allowed to see some people stepping in the aisles. I'm talking about that Chicago stepping. Step, side to side. Now we ain't saying aura, but yeah, we got the Frankie Beverly jumping off. But yeah, it's all included, right? It's all a part of who you are. And here's the thing, that at the very moment you start separating pieces of yourself, you become, in the words of John Kennedy, a bifurcated being.
Right.
And you want to separate mind from heart, body from spirit, up from down. No, it's all one. Let me go back to Frankie Beverly. We are one.
That's right.
And John
That's
Kenny,
right.
well, thank you, Mark. John Kenny says, when you have a bifurcated being, you've lost at least half of your mind.
Half your mind. Half your
Right.
mind.
And so when we think about this cosmological kind of basis for who we are in terms of African worship, we think about the supreme God. We think about being connected with one another. We think about our connection with nature. What else we got, Mike?
Well, now we got to go, but I did want to make sure that we highlighted one of these fire quotes that Dr. Allen did have, as she quoted Dr. Mbidi again in the text.
Yes, sir.
Which emphasizes the point that you were making. Where the African is,
Yeah.
there is his religion.
Yes.
He or she carries it to the fields where he is sowing seeds. She takes it with him or her to the beer party or to attend a funeral ceremony. And if he or she is educated, he or she takes religion with him or her to the examination room. Yep. If he or she is a politician, he or she takes it to the House of Parliament. There, in our African ways of knowing, no way for us to separate who we are from the one who made us.
There's no way.
That's how that shows up. So for anybody who is on and is trying to figure out how to interrogate your Christian faith from that which doesn't feel right, there is one of the markers. Yeah. If it has you categorize, eliminate, erase some of the real manifest blessings and connections that God has created, that ain't what we do. That ain't what we do. There's an interconnection always. But yeah, man, let's move on. We talked about nature. We talked about kinship. We talked about the supreme God. I think one of the last big thing, and good because we ain't got a whole bunch of time, was that worldview regarding story, folklore. And man, I love this. As a matter of fact,
yeah, man.
I got something I wanted to share. I got two short clips from a movie that my mama, when I was growing up, introduced me to, and it's been one of my favorites ever since. Let me see if I can share this with the group, and perhaps we'll talk about it on the back end.
Yes, sir.
You shouters getting new.
We've been a march.
Getting as good as the quiet the throat. Would you give us one of them all-time jumper?
All right, anything you say, Lord. So high.
Hard to hear, Mike.
Thank you. Let's save this a bit. Now, one thing we know, this
I don't know if anybody got that. Here's another. Just take in the visuals.
It's not coming through, Mike. It froze.
Can y'all see that?
Nah.
Okay. Hold on. I think I might have messed that one up. Let me see here.
You do the optimize for video sharing?
Yeah. got a chance to see that. I hope y'all can hear me?
Can hear you now, yeah.
All right, good. I hope y'all got a chance to see that and to hear that. That is from an old movie called The Green Pastures. And if you saw some of the visuals that were going on, this is the imagery. This is the way that our folk, based on our history, based on our worldview, based on our ways of knowing, envisioned what heaven in freedom and worship must be like. The character that you saw in the old preacher uniform, that's God, a black man, and he's enjoying his time of fellowship with the good angels there before he makes a journey down to the earthly realm. But if you saw what was going on, he's sipping on his tea and got a stogie in his hand, and he says, well, why don't y'all sing me one of those good old jump offs, one of them hymns that really get us going. And then after they finished, he says, now the fish fry can commence. This idea of folklore is the ways in which we as a people have long interpreted, reinterpreted, and reimagined our world, our truth, based on our already existing fellowship as community. When I see freedom, when I see liberation, when I see communal salvation, what does it look like? It looks like when all God's children get together.
What a time.
What a time of rejoicing there will be. And I like that image of heaven, man. If heaven got a fish fry going on, man, I'm gonna be there. I can tell y'all right now, if any of you see me up there, just come and find me. I'll be under one of the shade trees playing dominoes. Waiting on my hot fish to drop. That is one of these marvels and miracles about a people who have been oppressed so long, to be able to still see and envision. It's something about a people who it was illegal for them to read. So they couldn't read your Bible. But somewhere along the way, they heard this story about Moses and the children of Israel. And the God that heard their cries. Lord, we on time, man. We over time. I'm gonna study right there. Go ahead, Red.
But no, because there's another part about the folklore and stories that not only are comforting and encouraging, but are also critiquing, right? So even as we sit under, in your words, surveillance and subversion, some of our folklore was subversive as well.
Absolutely.
Through songs, through spirituals, through all these types of people, also through jokes, right?
Yeah.
You got songs talking about everybody talking about heaven ain't going there.
Right.
Why they looking at the master, right? You got signal songs, right? That help us know what's going on, right? So all of these types of and different ways of storying are very foundational and fundamental to our worldview. That stories, as Jesus did, as our people did, help people to understand better. Because when you can hear a story, you can put yourself in the story.
Right.
And so as you showed, putting the people in heaven, right? Somebody's putting themselves right there. This is what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Stories help to change consciousness, help to give courage. Stories remind you that you are not alone. You got company. All of these different types of pieces are stories and folklore that help empower. Even when you think about, she talks about folk like Brer Rabbit, right? And all of these folks who seem to be the underdogs. And if you outside looking in, don't know context, You would think, well, why would they celebrate somebody who's being a trickster and all this type of stuff? No, it's because they the underdogs and they ain't expected to win,
Right.
right? As has been part of the history of our folks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. As Dr. Small, thank you. They are this wisdom folklore. And
yeah.
one of the other things that it does for us as you were talking, it came up for me as well, is that in these stories, one of the things that we are able to do is to beat back against the ideas of coloniality and separatists, because if you follow the history, if you listen to some of these songs, they didn't allow faith traditions to box some out, to
Yeah.
exclude anybody. Most people don't even know what is the follow the drinking gourd.
Drinking gourd. Follow drink gourd. Yeah. Yeah.
And what is the other? There's the other hymn. Oh, when we sing this, I think for many communions, when I fall on my face,
With my face to the right, and I
with my
fall on my knees.
face,
With my
fall on
face
my
to the
knees,
rising
with
sun.
my face to the rising sun. Most people don't recognize or realize that that was actually prose from Islamic poetry. These were
Mm-hmm.
Muslims who were
Mm-hmm.
crafting this way to suggest this is the direction that we're going to move.
Yep. And it was a signal song.
Signal songs.
We about to get up
Yes.
out of here.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't to divide a people based on are you following Jesus? Well,
Yeah.
you got a ticket on the Underground Railroad, but if you are somebody who came out of a Muslim tradition, then no, this ain't the ride for you. No,
Yeah.
we all
We
are
all in this.
connected.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So yeah, man. This the what I loved about this chapter, and I know we got to close, man, because this is really time to wrap up. But what I love and what I think about this chapter, that Dr. Allen has done such great work, introduced additional scholars, is I think it helps all of us as believers in. I know in my congregation there are individuals who worship from varied traditions. They're not Christian only. They practice African spiritualities.
Yep.
But the point is that there are these ways of knowing that have been brought from a free people that we still retain in our being.
DNA, sir. It's in there. Yes, sir.
It's
Yes,
stamped in
sir.
who you are. So we should not be afraid to begin to question and interrogate, especially a world that has invented this phenomena of Christian nationalism and tells you that this is what this really means. No, we've known what this means before we even got here.
Mm-hmm.
Can't fool me with that mess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, I know who God is.
Yep. In my being.
In my being, connected, the ontological existence of our people is a demonstration of the image of who God is.
Yeah, man.
I'm
Yeah, man.
I'm done. I'm gonna shut up because I can go a whole nother hour, man.
Man, I should have brought this other video up. Maybe I'll bring it up later on. It's a video of Howard Thurman, a story his grandmother told him.
Ooh, Lord, you talking about the one of Paul or
No,
no?
it's
Let's
the
not get
one.
it.
It's the
We
one.
got 2 minutes, man. We got 2 minutes.
We got 2
Somebody,
minutes.
we got 2
We'll
minutes.
do it later on. It's about yeah, it's about it. Dr. Only, are there any questions or comments or concerns? We'll be on here till Kingdom Come. Any comments, questions, or concerns, Dr. Only?
Just very affirming comments, concerns. I did not see any specific questions in the chat, though we did ask for them. And so when you all are ready, Dr. Burrow will close us out once you all are ready.
All righty. Dr. Danny B.
Doctor.
Hold on. Let me wait. I need your spotlight. Wait a minute. Wait. Where you at? Yeah. Where you at? Where you at? Oh, Jesus. Hold on. There we go. There you go. Hey, Doc.
Wow, I am full. This was awesome. This was awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been phenomenal. We are so excited about everything that has been taught to us on this evening by these fine, wonderful scholar practitioners. And we hope that you had your notebook and you took notes for all of the wonderful information that was shared with us tonight. We want to formally thank Pastor Bell and Reverend Dr. Williams for guiding us through such a rich and powerful conversation on tonight. Family, what a journey we've been on this evening. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for your wrestlings. Thank you for your wonderment and even your vulnerability with us. Thank you for your willingness to explore the roots of who we are. As we close, we just want to remind you, understanding your African roots isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's a spiritual homecoming. We want to invite you to remember that the ways in which our ancestors worshiped, their understanding of community, and all the beliefs and rituals that they practiced were sacred. And we want to also remind you that there is certainly a connection between the living, meaning us, and those who came before us. And the gifts that they shared with us never have been lost or even have died. They've been waiting for us to reclaim them. We want to invite you to know that we are so interested in your thoughts from our time together this evening. Before you leave, we've got an important request. Please take a few moments to complete our weekly survey session. Our weekly survey for this session tonight, which is located in the chat. This survey is brief now. It's just a few moments to receive your honest, authentic feedback. It really makes a difference for us as we continue along our learning journey. We ask that you include your name, your church affiliation, and email address so that we can take full responsibility to track your participation across our congregations. Hey, just like I was excited to hear the wonderful learnings tonight, I'm also so excited about what's coming up next week. You don't want to miss it. We're going to delve into chapter 3, African liturgical practices. Tonight, we explored the roots, the beliefs, the cosmologies, the spiritual foundations of our ancestors. And next week, we're going to get practical. Next week, we're going to examine the specific liturgical practices that emerged from those roots that we talked about tonight. How African worship looked is something we're going to delve into. How African worship sounded, how African worship moved, and more important, how African worship felt is what we're going to spend some time next week discussing. We're going to discover how those practices survived, adapted, and continue to shape our Black worship today. Our amazing facilitators for next week will be the illustrious Reverend Dr. Joe Mitchell of New Hope Baptist Church and the incomparable Reverend Dr. Marcus Small of New Calvary Baptist Church. They will guide us deeper into the practices that connect us to our ancestors and to each other. If you haven't already purchased Dr. Allen's book, we encourage you to do so. You can find it at Orbis Books. The link is also in the chat. We hope this has been an enriching moment for you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thank you for trusting this collective of outliers with your Wednesday evenings. Thank you for believing that another way of worshiping, a more authentic, more liberative, more rooted way is possible. We will see you next Wednesday, February 11th for chapter 3. of African liturgical practices. And as we close, we want to invite you to receive this blessing. May you walk in the wisdom of your ancestors. May you worship in the fullness of your identity. May you live in the justice of our God. And may you always know the way back home. Ashe and Amen.
Okay, amen.
Ashe. Ashe.
Blessings, good beloved. Y'all take care.
Be well.
All righty.
Great job. Great job. Awesome. Awesome.
Hope it help. Hope it help. I think people are falling off.
Did you end the Facebook too?
Say it again.
Did you end the Facebook too?
Yeah, let me make sure.
It's still showing participants on there.
On Facebook?
Yeah. So, I'm on Facebook.
No, I think Facebook is off. Can you all check you all's pages to make sure it's off?
I'm looking at it right now. That's all.
It's still on?
Mm-hmm. It froze, so no, there it is. I see Danny moving.